back.
But I'm foolish. I needed you. Know that I've been missing. But I'm foolish. I needed you. Know that I've been missing. But I'm foolish. I needed you. Know that I've been missing. But I'm foolish. I needed you. But I'm foolish. I needed you. Know that I've been missing. But I'm foolish. I needed you. I needed you. I needed you. I needed you.
I carried you home, taking all the weight off your shoulders. Now we're long gone, falling into 1 year older. It's funny how our love began when I was sober. Now I stumble in a room where nobody else cares. Now I'm in two minds thinking about you. I'm in two minds thinking whether I'm too kind to give you all of my truth. I'm in two minds thinking. Now I'm in two minds thinking about you. I'm in two minds thinking whether I'm too kind to give you all of my truth. I'm in two minds thinking. We've been knocked down way too many times, and now my tries deja vu round, spinning me into another lost time. Tell me where this road will end before I drive over the edge. Give me one break to recover myself, because I can't bear. Now I'm in two minds thinking about you. I'm in two minds thinking whether I'm too kind to give you all of my truth. I'm in two minds thinking. Now I'm in two minds thinking about you. I'm in two minds thinking whether I'm too kind to give you all of my truth. I'm in two minds thinking.
You take me
Hello, everyone, and welcome. We've got the NUEL and we've got our finals and semi-finals coming up here. We've got, firstly, obviously, semi-finals. That tends to be the order in which things go. Obviously, joining me on the cast after a brief hiatus from casting with me, we have Blank. How are you doing today, Blank?
It's me, Blank, the Blankinator, whatever you want, Blanket. I'm here to provide an all-encompassing coverage of the semi-finals up to the finals. We have Warwick Angels versus NACL, so Newcastle versus Warwick, if you weren't aware. But we have Gatronic, Spicy Rice, Kalikur, Shovox, Apple, Delusional, all names, namestays within the UK community. Warwick Angels also got their six-man roster. Beam Claws, Mirak, Adnils, Keo, Tansky, and as Rook has instructed me to say it, Mahogany.
It is rather fancy, and I'm definitely excited to see these two teams go up against each other. And ACL, I believe, did actually lose out in their last match. Warwick did play them off stream. We're actually going to be getting right on into game, and it's going to be Lijiang Tower for our first map.
Yeah, straight into it. No messing around. Dropship straight onto the ground. And we're going to start off on Night Market, Rook. So not a bad map to start on at all. This is going to have the teams batting heads on the point straight away. Let's see who is the best team to take this point as a close quarters combat, so to speak, because this is a map where it's very much you get in the other player's face, other team's face, and you make things happen.
This certainly is something that I specifically want to talk about, referring to getting on and up and in their face, is whether we'll see this Wrecking Ball come out, because this was a map that we did see South Korea run it on as their main tank. So interested to see whether we will have teams picking up that strategy, or whether we will see them run what they've run through this tournament so far and not try and catch people off guard, which, looking at Newcastle, they have so far basically just run either goats or run a large number of tanks.
Well, that's where to go. You take out the goats comp, you run straight at the point and you just win with overwhelming sustain. And the reason Hammond is so popular on this certain map is because the 10-meter radius from Pile Driver after it's dropped down actually encompasses the entirety of the point, so you can get a mass knock-up if you are playing goats, in which case you'll be playing very much together, which on the side of NACL they will be doing. Newcastle running out the gates straight away against Warwick Angels, who will also be in this one. So basically the Moira is the target here to remove that massive sustain from the point.
Marak actually goes low early, but Showbox is under a lot of pressure. They managed to trade Marak for Showbox, but actually, that's not so great for the side of Newcastle. They're under a lot of pressure now. Keo doing a great job. Some really nice shields coming out. They're getting aggressive now. Tansky is high charge. They're going to take down Kalika. Keo manages to trade back. Now both teams are without their shield bearers. They're going to continue to fight, and it's even going too far either one way, but actually, it's going to be the side of Warwick funneling Newcastle a bit over. The fight continues on. Showbox is back in this fight, and he is swinging to win. Both of the Zarya's going down. We're doing a little bit of mirroring here, but Newcastle going to go really aggressive here, go outside the point, and with that Coalescence, actually looking to take this, but here we see the beat getting dropped. Marav goes down, and again, Newcastle are taking the lead here as they do destroy Keo, but Mahogany is going to drop this Coalescence as well. There is the self-destruct coming out, doesn't find any targets. They're continuing to contest this as Newcastle do seem to close it on out for this first point take.
Yeah, so the reason this fight went so much over the side of Newcastle, and it may have looked like a long fight, but that's exactly what you get when you get two GOATS comps heading against each other. But now those long sustained fights, all that's going to happen into that is that the points are going to tick up on the Newcastle side. It looks like Adnil so far is not eating the orbs from Spicy Rice, so they're just winning out in the fights. This was pretty much over as soon as the sound barrier came out, but there is an Earth Shadow to boot.
Certainly is, and there it goes. Showbox will get a whole bunch of damage, a whole bunch of kills, and that'll be Newcastle winning yet another fight in pretty prompt fashion this time.
Yeah, this is fine though. They waste two. They don't waste two. They invest two ultimates. They get the sound barrier out. They use the Earth Shadow. It looks like Warwick Angels also use their own Earth Shadow. So the problem here is that Warwick are not getting as much value out of their ultimates. Now, at ACL, they're gonna have this Coalescence once again. The orbs are not being eaten by Adnil, so Spicy Rice, who keeps ticking on up. Mahogany still yet to find her second Coalescence.
He does, and here is Spicy's second Coalescence. Need to watch out for that, especially... Oh, that's a really nice grab on Surge. That could have been... No, it doesn't quite actually find the damage. And there is the return one.
There's the
bigger
bang.
Self-destruct. That is going to be big.
Huge.
It looks like Newcastle are just going to take it.
Newcastle just investing ultimates very, very strongly here. Tanksy only finds probably the beefiest target, Calica, on the point, in which case he's very easily healed up. He has the armor as well as to boot on top of it. Tanksy was not a huge charge, so couldn't take Calica out by himself, so he remains in the fight. Counter Gravity goes down, finds 3 members. Shovox is very happy to swing into that and unleash the Earth Shadow after he finds it up. Rally to engage for Warwick.
That is a fantastic charge. They're finding a lot of damage. Really nice shield block there, but we see the counter charge coming up from Kyo. They're using that as an opportunity to get on aggressive here. They're moving towards this point because they need to be on it. Otherwise, they are just going to lose out. Here comes out that self-destruct. That could be big. Showbox, ever watchful, does manage to guard his team, and with it, there will be no punish coming out from them. Tanksky is trying to do some sort of work with this high charge Zarya, but he just doesn't have enough team members. Apple finds a whole bunch of frags. Calica will join him up there, and that'll be Newcastle taking this first point.
No, there is just so much positional advantage from Newcastle. Goats tends to play together, quite coordinated here, but Newcastle just playing it much better than Warwick. Warwick very much split a lot of the times. Morat relies on this AoE healing within a small radius, so you need to stick with your team. At the moment, Mahogany is just not getting as much value as Spicy Raisu is, going down midway through fights to Earthshanners. Shovox able to swing into Delusionals, Gravitons as well as. It's all just very well played, very well thought out. Warwick, I think they need to play a little bit more together, have this kind of strategy laid down. They do switch over to a comp that's a little bit more combated and able to deal with this Goats comp using Mirak in the skies to get that long-range, consistent damage, build up the barrage here, Rook.
Yeah, I think this is definitely the right decision because they're trying to beat Newcastle in the same comp. Newcastle practices a lot more. We need to see Warwick playing more to their strength. If you were to ask me which is the stronger team coming in here, even though I would want Newcastle to win, I would say it would be Warwick.
Oh,
so they
wow.
need to utilize that. And Kyo proving he is one hell of a main tank, getting really aggressive there, and Tanksky can just follow up.
Shovok stuck in a corner with the mate, doesn't quite find the shot yet. Now, here's Beam Claws on the top side. Newcastle not out of this one yet.
Also continue to get aggressive though, even though they are players down. They managed to get Adnils, that is absolutely huge. They're gonna keep on moving forward here. They are looking to try and take this point. They use that coalescence. Here comes the barrage coming down, taking out Calica, but not finding too much else.
Delusional.
At least managing to keep up. Delusional, unfortunately, going down there. Fantastic plays coming out from Kyo and the gang as they do actually turn this on over after what looked like a
Iconic
comeback from
slow.
Newcastle. Oh, okay,
Still
no.
going. Look at him, he's bouncing around. Now, finally he does flip over to Warwick's side, but only 3%. That fight could have gone over a lot earlier. Mirak able to get that consistent damage in there. Barrage does put a stint in the plans of Newcastle. There, the wrench is thrown inwards. Now, 50% towards this at the moment. Really, Apple needs to turn his attention towards Mirak, catch a lot of those rockets like this as they move over the bridge, and make sure they can get on it.
That's a really nice Graviton to lock them all up. They managed to get a hell of a lot of damage there. Even though they were shattered down, Marak is going to find a bit of damage. And unfortunately, Spicy Racing did go off. The res even coming out from Mahogany. This is looking like it's terrible for NACL as they're just losing players all over the place. They utilize another Graviton surge coming out from the side of Delusional, but it's just not enough.
They've invested most of their ultimates here, most of the big ones at least. The rally, yeah, you expected the pick to change off here. Spice Terrestrial moves over to the Farah, Calica onto the Mercy to help in the skies. Apple has his self-destruct. They gotta know that this next fight is pretty much lost though if they go white because there is a barrage available. It will be up to Apple to find the 2 players in the sky. Mirax is gonna go down to this.
That is fantastic. Taking out Mirak early is absolutely huge. Delusional almost goes down there. Fantastic. Sound barrier gonna come out to save him. Unfortunately, he goes down regardless. Here comes out the blizzard from Adnils. They're gonna lock up Showbox and put him away.
Points ticking over though, does flip. Delusional still in the fight, but Apple goes down very early, is now demech. Calica has a lot of work cut out for him.
Marak does just clean that on up. Pretty, tidy for him. Spicy does manage to kill him, but they are just looking for that little bit extra in terms of point percentage.
They got to get out now, Rud, because the point is ticking up. 20% for the side of Newcastle. Here we go, Warwick. Reflip it. Should do at least. They know they've really only got 1 contest left. Spicy Raisu has this barrage. Will be affected by the Earth Shadow as long as he has positional advantage in the skies. Mogany has this Valkyrie, but at the moment, really all Newcastle are doing is feeding ult charge over to Warwick. Tanksy finds Gatronics on the re-engage. Spicy Raisu, this barrage has to come out big. Mahogany will have the Valkyrie to hopefully stem the bleeding a little bit.
Tanksy has been fantastic, and Newcastle are bringing out something a little bit new here to try and deal with what Warwick are throwing at them. They realize that they are getting compositionally outdrafted. Here comes the
That's
Shadow.
Beam.
That's absolutely
Beam, let's
fantastic.
go down.
But they need to keep on going. With Beam Claws down, they need to take advantage of this. They're getting aggressive here. Apple gets locked up, but not too much else. Oh, Spicy manages to trade out there. That's exactly the kind of thing I want. Delusional is looking for these shots. He needs to find Mahogany here. Finds a bit of damage, but not quite the end. Adnil is getting aggressive here.
Adnil's coming back to fight. Discord Orb is on top of him, so we'll be taking 30% extra damage. 150 direct from the rocket will go down pretty much immediately, but the 99% is here. And with Earthshatter, Blizzard, and also Sound Barrier, one good re-engage is all they need. It will be down to Spicy Raisu, down to Apple with these huge bursty ultimates to remove key members like Beam Claws, Adnils as they come back into the fight. If they push through White, they are very covered on the side as they come in.
Shovox almost has that shatter. Needs to watch out for that. There it is. There is the self-destruct.
That's
Finds two from Apple. Fantastic. It's going to give Newcastle this fight pretty much.
They don't waste any resources from Warwick. So quickly, they do remove themselves. Now it's time for Warwick, Newcastle to play very much forward here. Use the Earthshatter to stop them in their tracks. It's extremely well played from Spicy Raisu actually, because he dropped the barrage not to kill anyone, to break the shield on the side of Warwick so that the self-destruct could do massive damage within the closed space of that room where Warwick can get up. 89% now. Calico will have this Transcendence for the recontest. That's massive. That's massive!
They get double fire strike from Shovox. Here's the Blizzard, though. It could be an opportunity. Adnils does get it, but with Mahogany going down, with Tanksy, with Keo already dead. Fantastic play coming up from these DPS players who we've not seen play DPS all season. NACL are looking to take this second map.
Newcastle, Shovox, you absolute mad lad. Drops down the Earthshatter. Tanksy goes down. They need him to get up the Graviton. Can't find it. He goes down almost immediately and then pops the shield up and drops the Earthshatter. Will block that one out. And he's done his job at that point. Here's Shovox. Definitely deserved the play of the game here. Huge plays coming out of Warwick. Not as adapted as I hope they might be, but they do switch off the Goats comp just in time. Made it a little bit harder for themselves, but they still got there in the end.
They do indeed. And that's something which I want to bring up is Newcastle have played GOATs all season, and they just brought out double DPS. Oh, sorry, 2-2-2. This is absolutely crazy from them because they're showing that they do have this diversity.
They've been playing really hard as a team in Arena Clash, as well as we've seen them from in other tournaments like that where they've been really trying to improve. They got to the top 2 in Arena Clash, played off Insomnia last weekend, and now they're here at NUEL to basically prove themselves as this semi-finalist. They want to get all the way to the finals here and hopefully take a final itself.
Certainly will. It looks like our next map will also be Rialto. And if they can win here, they will be sealing their fate and going to that final and playing against the University of York.
And it's looking good so far. We go to Rialto,
Sorry,
which is
York.
a map.
I meant Birmingham. I said York.
So good. Birmingham, yes, indeed. But Rialto is looking very good for Newcastle, considering the way they've played so far with the GOATs comp. Rialto is a map that heavily focuses on can you get your entirety of a team into a small corridor and can you mechanically burst down Warwick? And with the positional, basically, advantage that Warwick have a lot of the times, this positional prowess, Warwick Angels are in a tough spot. They're moved into uncomfortable places. They're a little bit cramped. They need to be playing a little bit more free.
We certainly do. They seem to be feeling the pressure a little bit because this is a team that is very strong and that can perform at a high level. That is why they were one of the top teams coming into this playoffs. I do believe they were first over UOB Zeus, if I remember correctly.
I'm not too sure. However, we'll definitely get some tabs on that after we go to a break. Once this match does conclude, the Warwick Angels versus Newcastle. Warwick Angels, they have to bring it back here if they want to try secure a place to that final.
They do indeed. I mean, looking at Rialto, what kind of comps do we actually want to see come out from Warwick?
Staple on Rialto, at least, would be Zarya. Zarya is so strong on this map, particularly because it's such right angle turns, etc. Gravitons become massive because teams usually stack up within small rooms. Being able to pull them out like that, it creates so much pressure and space for your own team and easy wipe advantage. On first point, you do see a lot of teams opting to use Orisa and Roadhog. I would suggest against that. It's a good comp to use and it's definitely viable, but Reinhardt, Zarya definitely becoming more of the staple on Rialto itself, especially on attacking comps where you have to get those quick wipes to move around corners, as it's so easy for the attack for the defenders, using that defender's advantage on the spawn side, especially point A, to get back in there, back in the fight.
And looking towards that, be interesting to see if we do have teams picked up. I've seen a lot of Pharah on this map as well, especially on this first point, trying to get a lot of damage because they do have to come over these two chokes, these two bridges in this Venice lookalike.
You're completely correct there, Roy. Exactly. There's so many areas that you can move over the buildings, so many flanking opportunities, opportunity to get directs. And if you are playing a Widow who loves Rialto, especially because of the long sight lines where you can basically shoot down essentially a shooting gallery, having the directs to be followed up by a body shot from the Widow can be extremely deadly. On the defense, what we're running instead is Adnils once again on the Mei. The wall probably pretty strong here at blocking off members, and she can hide within these left enclaves, the left small apertures, which means that most likely Newcastle won't be able to suspect this, but they'll probably get wise to it pretty quickly, play a little bit more of a mobile comp with Zarya as the off tank.
That certainly is something interesting that they're bringing out, perhaps predicting the initial goats because of Newcastle's likening for it. So going to try and adapt to the other team.
Now, Shovok switches off to the Hamster, back onto the Reinhardt. Maybe we'll want to switch back onto it to get into the backline, survive a lot more with that adaptive shield. But already pushing forward, looks like will be the Warwick Angels deciding not to contest them here at the bridge, but rather pull it back using this choke point and the Mei wall for that bigger advantage.
Well, they're continuing to fight here. The cart has stopped, but Shovok is still a swing, and he's looking for an opportunity, trying to find those fire strikes. As Kalika actually takes out Marak as a counter sniper.
This is going to make things so much easier for Delusional on this right side. He's just got full free reign of the tank line, and the Reinhardt's forced to move the shield.
Yeah, big mistake there. Shovok goes down, and they had a really good opportunity, but now they're just going to have to fall back. Adnils does get that shield, so Apple doesn't finish him off. But Keo pushing really far up, and the team is following.
Yeah, very dangerous. If Kia goes down here, it means there will be no Earthshatter. Very ready for Newcastle to move on in now. Apple with the personal, but Mirak takes down Delusional in the back.
Yeah, will be him going down. They continue to get a Supreme Claws, trying to contest. Tank Seed getting aggressed upon. Here is Shovok. He's swinging his hammer. He's trying to find those kills. The res even comes through onto Kalika, as we do see the shatter. Mainly whiff, but at least it's a threatening shatter.
Beam Claws still within the point, so the payload's not moving as of yet. That means there's much more ground to cover, much more potential for a recontest. Valkyrie used very much at the end of that fight, so we won't be able to use this to sustain on the final point A. Here's Keo waiting on the sidelines. He wants to get that shatter in as they come around the corner. Can Shovok, as we've seen historically so far, block this Earth Shatter as it comes through?
Big Graviton, so they do actually manage to catch up Adnils and get Keo as well. Nice combo there. It's going to give them an opportunity to move on through here, even with Marak winning out this sniper war.
Taxi has to go down. Yeah, he had to go down there. He was so high charge. Good calls from Kalika to switch the Discord orb over towards him, because he was about 70, 90 charge and would be doing extreme damage to Spicy Ricer should he let up even a little bit. Already pushing forward, hoping to get a little bit more this ult charge towards the barrage. It's been useful so far. The rest of the team pushing forward will leave Kalika on point to push the payload through.
Well, indeed. They are taking these aggressive positions, trying to get a lot of that space. But Keo is now moving up with Tanksky to try and contest this. And if there's one person I trust here, it is Tanksky. We are actually going to have a pause coming through though.
Here's the pause. So we can take a quick talk about what Warwick have coming up in the next couple of minutes. Couple of seconds rather. We got Tanksy with the Graviton probably going to come down. There's really not much to contend with it here, as well as Keo can come around the back of the Graviton as well as drop down the Earth Shadow, making Shovok forcing Shovok rather to drop the shield, and then Adnils can quite easily pop the Peacemaker into the front line, take everyone down without that 2000 shield being a nuisance in his way. Mirak will be able to pop the Infrasight as they come around this corner, so Taxi will have perfect vision, able to pop down that Graviton in the right position, as so far he's had a little bit of difficulty getting a full 4-man Graviton, 3-man Graviton, mostly only hitting these 1-man Gravitons. onto pretty hardy targets.
And it would be a nice thing to show up Tanksy's play, because we've seen fantastic neutral game and general play and utilizing those shields and getting the damage onto the side of Newcastle. So definitely would be nice to see him become a more rounded player.
Merrick not quite popping the infra site yet, so they won't have this perfect vision, which might be a mistake as Spicy Raisu comes over the top. We're able to get this barrage in potentially, which could shut them down once again, as a lot of times Kyo's been going down first to the barrage with the Earthshard in pocket, basically making the push meaningless, and most of these Gravitons on top of it.
Comes the Guardian Angel from both sides now. There's 4 ultimates more still on the side of Warwick. They're looking for an opportunity. They're holding well. Since Newcastle haven't moved forward, they're absolutely fine with this. They don't need to get aggressive.
Shovox, Earthshadow available. Kyo's dropped the shield. Tanksy does find Delusional, however, so now it's time to go aggressive. A massive Earthshadow, however.
But unfortunately, there's the Graviton Surge to counter it, and Tansky will go absolutely wild. Finds 3 kills there. Katronics goes in suicides. That's big for the side of Warwick.
It was such a huge Earth Shatter, though. They were forced Tanksy to drop down the Graviton. Kyo drops down the Desperation Shatter on top of it. But now Apple's coming back in with the Graviton as well. Because Shovex is such a massive threat with these Earth Shatters, they've forced, basically, Warwick to invest so many resources that they didn't want to invest. Now they have the Barrage, the Transcendence, the Graviton, and no perfect vision from the infra site now, as it's just about gone down. Spicy Rice is going to be finding a great flank.
It was indeed the Long Kong. Unfortunately, Apple has no shields left. There's the Graviton Surge. They get aggressive, but Beam Claws does drop that Transcendence to negate all the damage coming out from Spicy, and Spicy is the one to fall. Is this it for the side of Newcastle as they just lose this fight?
Newcastle not able to do much here. Calica doesn't come in with the Transcendence, knows he can't help on the top side. Now 2 minutes remaining on the clock, and they've not really made much headway considering they had 4 minutes remaining as they push through point A. Calica, Transcendence is going to be huge in this next fight to keep them in it for a little bit longer so they can build up some more resources on the ult side. Spicy Raisu makes the switch over to the Hanzo. This is for better tank busting ability, and it will also contend with the McCree close range.
I mean, Shovok's eating a bit of damage. Here comes the Transcendence. They're not going to really fall here. Here's the high noon from Adnils. They need to be careful. That's good. He still fights Apple. I thought he was behind the shield. At least Kyo goes down in response. A lot of res is coming through. This is a bunch of big picks. Calica on this support, finding so many kills. Marak is finally going to get him back for that kill earlier. But Warwick are going to have to beat back to the second point.
A very, very bold play coming out from Calica there. He knew he had to use the Transcendence aggressively to get his team up towards more ultimates. Otherwise, they were going to have a tough time coming into point C with so little resources to work with. Now Shovex has the Earth Shatter, and if you can use it like he's been using it so far, it will be large. This fight pretty much goes down just because Adnils has the flashbang advantage. Doesn't really mean much though, as they are so close to the gate. They did invest the Earth Shatter. Now Shovex can move forward without worrying about this. This may have been an overinvestment.
Yeah, they're really close to spawn as well. They're trying to spawn camp them. Kutronics even escapes. This is big for the Newcastle.
Oh no.
Is too far up, as you were just saying. They're going to need to really regroup here. They at least take out Calica.
Calica is down. That means no Discord orb, but Erez comes out almost immediately. Shovox looking for it, does find Tanksy, and that's good enough.
Here comes the charge from Kyo. He doesn't quite find the kill, but he took Shovox all the way out. It doesn't matter, though, because they're finding kills regardless. Apple winning out that matchup, and Shovox is now back in the fight. And who can contest him here? Because he's just walking forward with his shield up.
Apple, Graviton, at the moment, Warwick playing very sparse, but it doesn't matter as he lasers down Tanksy. There's nothing left, and Adnils caught out off guard once again. This has been a recurring theme. They are pushing into the last point, and they will have the Graviton available, not forced to use it at this choke. To lose it as they all compress together and condense on the final point of point C.
Here is the Dragon Strike coming out from Warwick. Doesn't really find too much. At least Apple is also dead. We're going to see Showbox countercharge that. Nice play from him. But there's so much damage coming right onto him. Marak is going to take him out. That's Newcastle sent beating back.
Tanksy has to be huge with this upcoming Graviton. Kyo as well as the Earth Shadow. Apple, Spicy Raisu. Hanzo, Zarya combo. Calico's down 30 seconds on that res, however, 55 seconds remaining. So that is a huge cooldown to be considered as we come into final fight territory. Kyo has to hit this Earth Shadow one time. It has to be massive. There it is. Just about gets the shield back in time, but there's no Graviton and no res. This means that the Graviton Dragon Strike combo cannot be utilized in this final fight.
Yeah, they do use the Graviton, but there is no damage there, especially the Transcendence used for safety. Here's the high nuke coming out!
Oh my god!
Delusional finds 2! This is looking fantastic for the side of Newcastle as Warwick just get flanked. This is absolutely awesome for them as they just roll
Apple
on in
as
here.
well. Rook, Apple is on his way with the Graviton. The Dragon Strike was held. They didn't have to use it. This will be the final nail in the coffin.
Yeah, and Apple a Day keeps the Doctor away. Oh, Warwick, as it so seems, as he uses that Graviton Surge to lock him on up.
Yeah, that is the right word. Warwick, they need to get a locksmith because they were locked down in a prison on that final point. Still, a great time. 6.8 seconds. That means Warwick were able to hold them off for a very, very long time there. Second point was played extremely well. It's a bit of a Mexican standoff with the McCree in the front lines, meaning that Shovox couldn't move forward too aggressively as he likes to because the flashbang was a constant threat to him. Keo not having to play the mind games anymore because the McCree opens up the floor for him.
And that didn't result in Newcastle not even going to overtime about 7 seconds out, but that can be all the difference in the world.
100%. 6.8 seconds. This means that they will have a little bit more time on the clock. It will mean that there's a lot more pressure on Warwick as well, as they need to get all the way to the end. And so far, if it goes by anything that we've seen Newcastle do before, they should be able to hold this first point pretty adamantly as long as they play this Goats comp correctly, which so far they've been doing fantastically.
Yeah, no, if there's a team that I would expect to be able to play Goats correctly, it would be a Newcastle here.
No. Look at Warwick on this side. They also pull out the Goats comp. It's yet to be confirmed whether this will be their composition, but there'll be the difference in the way that Newcastle plays compared to Warwick, because they'll be wanting to hold very much far up. So they're holding on this left side. What they will do is we'll wait for the payload to hit here, and then it will be a full all-out brawl on the point, and it'll be 100% again, depending who can find the Moira first and who can build with that coalescence. So far, it'll be down to Adnils to eat those orbs.
Certainly will. Newcastle starting that fight early.
Shovox.
Keo gets countercharged by Shovox there. They're getting aggressive and they even take him out. They're spawn camping them.
Yep, that's it. This is such a great position. It can also backfire, because if you go down, you give ult resources towards the attacking team. But as you can see by the top side, ult resources are very much on the advantage for Newcastle. They're going to use this to hold them within spawn. Immediately switches come out, Adnils on this Mei to lock down these close range targets.
They're running triple DPS. They have the Doomfist, the Reaper, the Mei. They're trying to utilize it. Marok gets booped off by Catronics. That is devastating. This Mei isn't doing anywhere near enough work as we'd expect from it. And Tankski can't manage to heal himself up enough as this Reaper.
The rally here is going to be the absolutely crucial thing that Warwick now have to contend with as they come into the next fight. Obviously, they're using Reaper here. The armor is going to be very difficult for him to chew through. Gatronics also coming to the sound barrier, be able to survive through this one. And it's basically going to be 2 minutes off the clock for free, where it's not moved at all.
Shovox whiffs that Earth Shatter, but it's still not looking too
Oh
good
my
for his
god,
side.
he's done that 3 times.
They do actually have this sound barrier as they manage to pop a whole bunch of ults to hold them here. They have wasted a lot of those ultimates, so now the ult economy is in favor of Warwick.
It's absolutely fine though. Graviton coming up for Delusional means everyone can swing into that one. Calico will make his way up to another rally. They just need to survive.
He survived through this Blizzard. The Blizzard does manage to slow them down. They only managed to find one. Tankski pops that Death Blossom, is looking for a second, but
There's
Delusional
so
is here.
much healing on Delusional.
As you were saying, so much healing. This Brigitte, the Moira, and the Lucio all keeping these team members alive until they don't. And finally, Warwick find a way through.
I know it's time for them to back out, but like I was saying, they could swing straight into the Graviton. 79% on Calico, Earth Shadow for Shovox, and Delusional already at 70% as he was able to just unleash mortar after mortar into that Graviton. This is absolutely fine. Mirak with the Riptide is the thing they need to worry about though, because that can bring down any member. Spicy Rice Suit moves into the Farret, consistent damage from the sky, counters out the counter from Mirak. So this is a great read coming out from the side of Newcastle as they come back into point.
Need to be careful with this tire though. If Marat can find a couple of those kills, find Showbox, and the main piece of this NACL team will fall, and that could just be it for this fight. As they do continue to get aggressive, they even pop the rally.
That was a little bit irresponsible, popping the rally there. Down comes the Earth Shadow. It does force out a few more ultimates from Warwick. They will take point A pretty convincingly. Sharks coming back in again.
Newcastle just using everything they can to try and stall this out for even a little bit. They don't even find any kills. Arguably feeding ult charge, though. That's the big thing, which could result in another loss.
3 minutes though on the clock. It's not a lot of time to push around the very lengthy streets of point B. Shovox will have the Earthshatter, Delusional with the Graviton, able to get Spicy Rice up for the next barrage if he does land a good one. The Blizzard is something they have to contend with. They don't have a Diva to be able to eat that. But one thing we have to mention here, Rook, is that Shovox, every time that Keo tries to get a charge off, Shovox is the steel in his way.
That's a really nice wall to deny all that damage that would normally come out from this Goats comp. They do still manage to find a kill onto Keo, and this could be a one fight for Newcastle regardless, but they do have to invest another ult here, which is a major investment.
It is indeed. There's not much healing coming out from the side of Newcastle, but it's kind of countered out because they have the Mercy and they have so much burst damage. Calicos makes the switch now over to the Zenyatta from the Brigida, because they've used the rally already to win that fight. Now they bring back in with Kalikur. The extra damage from the Discord Orb for the frontline targets like Mei and Earthshatter and Reinhardt, sorry, called him Earthshatter, oh my god.
That will be a Hanu that doesn't find anything from Iraq, but Shovox finds Keo again, and as soon as these main tanks fall, the rest of the team goes with them pretty much.
Exactly, the main wall comes out the way, tells them to freeze, they've got to stop, but Apple, having none of it, comes back in, and that'll be Tanksy going down. Not so Tanksy after all.
Indeed, and there's 2 minutes on the clock now, but they are being pretty well held by the side of Newcastle.
They're on the bridge, Rook. It's like, Newcastle here, like, pay the toll. You have to pay the troll toll to get across the bridge.
Do indeed to get into this payload. Not going to say the other thing because Keo's just getting really aggressive. Here's the Shatter.
Massive.
The Blizzard means nothing from Adnils. And they are just going to continue to fight. They find a couple of picks here, actually. This could be big. Marat even pops that high noon. Great usage. Oh, no. Electronics runs too early there.
But look at that. 1, 2, 3 ultimates from the side of Warwick here to take that single fight. The McCree ultimate probably not necessary. Now they'll be moving up to a Graviton and a Transcendence with only 1 minute remaining. On this corner, it's very easy for Newcastle to hold, but they've got to get aggressive pretty soon to hold that position.
They're continuing to fight. Showbox gets walled up, does countercharge. But there it is! Oh my god, Spicy finds the kill! But Beam Claws does shut him up. Keo finding a nice shatter. This is looking good for the side of Warwick.
Late Transcendence comes out, does not save a single soul here. Delusional still with that Graviton in the pocket. Probably won't use it here on the point. That's the smart choice. That already irresponsibly used a lot of ultimates. Adnils will have another Blizzard, and it'll be up to the side of Newcastle to see if they can do what they did last time, which was during the Blizzard animation for the freeze, try burst down as many squishy targets as possible before they get frozen. Worked before in a way, but they were just out sustained. Gatronics has this Valkyrie though, and with only 1 minute 41 remaining, that extra sustain is going to help them in a big way. And Keo, you're just too far forward.
And this is it. There's been a massive disconnect between these players, and as a result, they're just losing fights where they really shouldn't.
Yeah, Tanksy not able to play with his main tank, whereas Delusional is always there with projected barriers onto Shovox at the correct times, and Shovox just playing aggressively to an extent and then pulling back and playing a little bit more passively for his team. Now there's a massive ult advantage in the favor of Newcastle. They're going to be able to hold this corner, and even if they don't, they will have a recontest Spicy Raisu. That's going to force the res out.
Does indeed. Mahogany does drop that, and here is the May wall. They're trying to do something, but Shovox finding a charge! How is he finding so many?
Just clips himself against the Glacier, and you know what? Keo has nowhere to go. Now they force forward. There's the May wall. Shovox gets his Earthshatter cancelled by Beam Claws. Apple will go down as well. As they want to hold this for as long as possible. If they can get them down to 20 seconds, they can hold at the choke with a Graviton Dragon Strike combo. So things are still looking very good for Newcastle.
this has been pretty much the story of the game, is that main tanks suddenly decide, I'm going to go forward, and it just goes really badly. And now Warwick Angels are knocking on the door of Newcastle.
But look how condensed they are. Look how condensed they are, Rook. This Graviton Dragon Strike is going to be absolutely massive. They have nothing to block it either. Blizzard comes out very, very early. Appy's not able to eat it. Out comes the self-destruct.
Self-destruct finds nothing because of the Transcend. There's the Graviton. The Dragon misses! How do you miss? Spicy, come on! Absolutely, at least finds one, and this is Newcastle getting aggressive, getting amongst it, swinging to win, and they actually look like they might still take this.
Tank seat coming through now, back in that very high charge. Kyo finds Gatronic, sorry, with the charge. Spicy Raisu back in, trying his darnest, but he won't find anything. Calico now has to switch around the point. Tank seat only remaining. Now his two supports. Apple's back in there.
Delusional is now on this Winston. They're going to finish off these last few members, and they might just take it here. Here comes Farak. He's trying to do something, but he just isn't there in time, and Newcastle take it 2-0.
That was just so well played from Newcastle overall. Spicy Raisu, I mean, sometimes it's pretty hard to control where the dragons you want to go. I mean, they are two fiery beasts. Like, I don't even know how Hanzo managed to tame them. So far, a lot of them are Creoles. This one was lovely. Some of them just invested a little bit too early, a little bit too late. Not use the zoning tools, but rather after math uses on the ultimate. So basically take down a couple of members, look cool in the kill feed, but not actually zone Newcastle away from the point.
That will actually be Newcastle not getting zoned away from the point, but zoned into those finals to play against UOB. We do also have a third and fourth set. We have a third versus fourth place match coming up later as well between, I can't remember who the other team is, but I know it's going to be Warwick playing some Kiel is the other team.
Indeed, indeed. Now, I think we will take a little break whilst we set up for the next match. So thank you for watching so far. Don't go anywhere because there's plenty more to come.